I'm going to call to order the Labor and Commerce Committee. I want to thank everyone for being here in new session. So just to make sure that everyone knows your name, even those who are watching us online, I'm going to ask that the committee would introduce themselves and just mention the area that you represent. I'll start. Everybody down here? Okay, I'll start down on my left.
Introduce yourself and area you represent.
My name is Delegate Ren Williams. I represent Patrick, Henry, Carroll, Floyd, and Galax in Southwest Virginia.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Jason Ballard. I represent House District 42, which encompasses all of Giles County, almost all of Pulaski County, a good chunk of Montgomery County, and the city of Radford. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm Delegate Runyons, representing the 35th District, which is all of Bath, Highland, most of Augusta, and southern Rockingham. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I'm Joe McNamara. I represent all of Salem, parts of Roanoke County, and Roanoke City.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Delegate Wilt, 34th House District, City of Harrisonburg, and a portion of Rockingham County.
Thank you.
Delegate Michael Weber, represent Fauquier, Culpeper, and Rappahannock counties.
Israel O'Quinn, I represent the 44th. Israel O'Quinn, I represent the 44th House District, which is the city of Bristol, all of Washington County, half of Russell County.
Madam Chair, Terry Kilgore, 45th District, Lee, Scott, Wise, City of Norton, and half of Dickinson County.
Wow. You want to start down?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I represent, my name is Charnel Herring. I represent the 4th House District, which is western part of Alexandria City, as well as parts of Fairfax County.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Rip Sullivan. I represent the 6th District, which is in Fairfax County, McLean, Great Falls, and part of Vienna.
Thank you.
Goodness. My name is Delegate Converse Fowler, Kelly Converse Fowler. I represent the 96th District, which is in Virginia Beach.
Thank you.
Delegate Dan Helmer, House District 10, which is Southwest Fairfax County.
Good afternoon. I'm Delegate Candy Munden King. I represent the 23rd House District, which is Stafford and Prince William counties.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Delegate Michelle Lopes Maldonado, and I represent District 20, which comprises parts of the western end of Prince William County, the city of Manassas, and the city of Manassas Park.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Irene Shin. I represent the 8th District, which is entirely inside Fairfax County. Includes the town of Herndon, parts of Chantilly, and the Fair Oaks neighborhood.
Good afternoon. I am Michael Jones. I represent the 77th District, which is parts of Chesterfield and the city of Richmond. My apologies about the water.
Too soon, Mike. Too soon. I'm Delegate Destiny Levere Bowling. I represent part of Eastern and Central Henrico County in House District 80.
Good afternoon, y'all. Delegate Michael Fagans, representing House District 97 within Virginia Beach.
Thank you so much. This is our committee, our legislative committees, but there is also some people working with us on this committee that we could not get our work done without, so I'm going to ask that our staff to introduce themselves, starting with our...
I'm Terry Lynn, clerk for Labor and Commerce, and so I represent the committee ops.
Thank you.
My name is Marvi Ali. I'm one of the staff attorneys for the committee.
Tom Stevens, Legislative Services.
Randy Wright, retired teacher, room clerk.
Thank you. Well, you're sitting at the table, so please introduce yourself also.
My name is Maggie Daly, and I'm the House Page.
House Page. All right.
I'm from Alexandria, Virginia.
Thank you. And we have one more person who will be working with our committee with me. I didn't introduce myself. I am Delegate Juwan Ward. I'm the chair of the committee, and I represent half of the city of Hampton. And now?
I'm Michelle Clayton. I'll be the committee assistant working with Delegate Ward.
Thank you, thank you. So welcome to everyone to a new session. I'm glad that we're all here. And the one thing I want to do is just to run over some of the things to remind you some housekeeping. Our committee meets on Tuesday and Thursday afternoon after the House session adjourns. Then the subcommittees will meet after the full committee adjourns, and in the same meeting room right here in this lower level, room A. And all attendees must be seated unless they're called on to testify, and then they'll be called to the podium. The chair will call on patrons based on the bill in front of the committee, and the committee will be live streamed, will be web streamed. Written comments on each bill can be made at any time once the bill is listed on the committee agenda. Testimony will be limited based on the bill, and the chair will first call on speakers present in the committee room and then call on remote speakers. Both members and those waiting or wanting to testify, please have your mic muted until you are recognized by the chair to speak. The chair requests members to use the request to speak button. And remember, when your speaker or your mic is still on, and you did not expect it to be on, so be careful. Those in attendance would have to adhere to the House policy that signs and banners will that not obstruct the view of others or aisles in the committee rooms. Demonstrations are not permitted in the meeting room, and demonstrations may be permit in the Capitol Square. Subcommittee chairs and member assignments, I don't believe they have changed. I'm going to go over them quickly. Subcommittee chair, Subcommittee 1 is Chair Delegate Maldonado. Her members are Delegate Sullivan, Shen, LaVere Bowling, Kilgore, Wilt, and McNamara. Subcommittee 2, chaired by Delegate Lopez. Members, Delegate Converse Fowler, Delegate Helmer, Delegate LaVere Bowling, Delegate Fagans, Marshall, Runyon, and Ballard. Subcommittee 3, chaired by Delegate Sullivan. Members, Delegates Herring, Munden King, Shen, Jones, McQuinn, Weber, Gilbert, Williams. And Subcommittee 4 is chaired by Delegate Herring. Members, Lopez, Delegates Lopez, Sullivan, Gilbert, and Runyon. I think I covered all of the information that we need. Right now, we're going to get right into our committee, our agenda right now. I guess you know that we're already late, so I'm kind of talking fast because right after this committee, we have the first subcommittee, and there's quite a few bills in that subcommittee. So we're going to proceed with what we have on the agenda today. And are there any questions? Let me do that. Just a moment. Sure, it's number 1 anyway. Okay, I'm going to call our first bill is House Bill 1625. Patron Delegate McClure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, HB 1625 removes the farm worker exemption and the temporary foreign worker exemption from the Virginia Minimum Wage Act. Under our current law, farm workers on large farms are only covered by the federal minimum wage at $7.25 an hour, and farm workers on small farms are excluded from the federal minimum wage protection, meaning that it is legal in Virginia for employers to pay farm workers below $7.25 per hour. Through my many conversations with farmers and based on data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, we know that the majority of farmers already pay at or above Virginia's minimum wage. This bill addresses the outliers who would choose to pay their workers very low wages, and employers who pay inhumane wages get an unfair competitive advantage over farmers who are paying fair wages for this incredibly hard work. It is past time that we remove the discriminatory farm worker exemption from our minimum wage law. Madam Chair, members of the committee, it is my hope that it is the will of the committee to vote in favor of HB 1625.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, we've heard this bill before, and everyone has had an opportunity to voice their opinion on this bill, and to vote. However, if there's anyone who needs to speak to this bill, we have a limit of 3 minutes. Seeing no one who wants us to speak. Was it? I'm sorry. Oh, do we have someone?
We have someone online, but they're not up yet. They're not here.
Well, they're not here? Okay. Is there a motion on the bill? Anyone in opposition to the bill? Okay. Oh, we do? Okay, we have 3 minutes? All right.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Kyle Shreve with the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation, and I won't take 3 minutes. We made our case last year. We acknowledge the history of this. However, with the way the federal law works, we do have concerns with spiraling wages due to the adverse effect wage rate included in federal law. Due to those objections, they remain. We understand the will of the committee. Appreciate your time. We do oppose the bill.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Heidi Hertz with Cozen O'Connor representing the Virginia Agribusiness Council, and for the reasons stated before, we also oppose the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Travis Rickman. I'm with the Secretary of Agriculture and Forestry. And agriculture faces unique challenges, including unpredictable costs and limited control over market pricing, additional wage mandates, risk closures of small and medium-sized farms. And over the last year, we've seen the loss of over 5,000 farms and nearly 500,000 acres of farmland over the last 5 years. I urge this committee to carefully weigh the potential consequences on Virginia's farmers and economy before moving forward with this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Apologies, Madam Chairwoman. I think there was some confusion, but I'm here in support of the bill, Rena with Freedom Virginia.
Thank you.
There's some other supports too.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Tram Nguyen with New Virginia Majority. We strongly support this legislation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Wes Gibson with the Virginia Education Association. We strongly support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the committee, Jason Urashis, Legal Aid Justice Center, we support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Doris Krause Mays, President of the Virginia AFL-CIO, and we support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Ramon Cepeda Ramos with the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, and we support this bill. Thank you.
So much. How's our time? Okay.
50 seconds.
50 seconds.
Madam Chair, Tom and Torsia with the Virginia Catholic Conference. We support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Sophie McGinley with the Commonwealth Institute for Fiscal Analysis. We support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. I think we made it just in time. Okay. Any other comments from members of the committee? Any questions? Yes. Delegate Sullivan.
Just a comment, Madam Chair. I want to thank Delegate McClure for bringing this back to us. Over the course of the last, I guess it's only 3 weeks, it all runs together. I've had a chance to listen to the governor's speech to the money committees and then, of course, his speech yesterday. And he delivered the news we were, of course, all happy to hear, that Virginia's economy is soaring, I think he said, thriving. Wages are up, employment's up. All very good news. And as I listened to all that, I flashed back to the debate we had the last time we debated raising the minimum wage, both in the farm sector and more broadly, and the predictions of doom, that we were going to crash the economy, people would go unemployed, businesses would shutter. And it just sort of drove home to me, Madam Chair, that obviously that didn't happen, quite the opposite. And I knew this bill was in the pipeline, and I just knew that I was going to look forward to voting yes on it again, and wish you well when you get to the other side of Capitol Square, because hopefully, given the experience of the last couple of years with our economy, the governor will recognize that this, in fact, will be good for business, good for farmers, good for workers, and good for Virginia.
Thank you. Any comments? The committee works on a motion. It's been properly moved and seconded that the bill be reported. All in favor, cast your votes on your voting machines. The clerk should close the roll. The measure passes 12-9.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
Thank you. The next bill up is House Bill 1724, Delegate Delaney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee. I have HB 1724. When you're ready. Okay.
Yes, proceed, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like many of you, I hear from my constituents all the time just how unaffordable healthcare in Virginia has become. When I knock on doors in my district, I've heard neighbors tell heartbreaking stories about having to ration medication because they can't afford to fill their next prescription, or how couples have to sit down each month and figure out how to keep the heat on and pay for life-saving medication at the same time. Meanwhile, drug companies are seeing record profits as products skyrocket in price, well above the regular rates of inflation. The problem is clear. The cost of simply staying alive in Virginia is much too high. So HB 1724 establishes a prescription drug affordability review board to rein in the out-of-control prescription drug prices for all Virginians. The board is comprised of an unbiased medical and healthcare professionals with the authority to review price hikes to the most expensive drugs on the market and set upper price limits when appropriate. Those reviews are triggered when a drug experiences a price increase of more than 10% or $10,000 during any 12-month period. Manufacturers then have the opportunity to justify the hikes, and the board will also hear input from the public and a stakeholder advisory committee. Afterwards, they will determine if an upper price limit is appropriate, at which time cost savings will be passed on to consumers. The bill also provides the drug manufacturers report annually to a nonprofit organization selected by the Department of Health, and that nonprofit provides the board access to all of this collected data. The Prescription Drug Affordability Review Board is a common sense solution to a devastating problem. Cost should never be a barrier to life-saving medication, and no Virginian should ever have to choose between putting a roof over their head or a prescription drug that keeps them alive. I'm joined here today by citizen advocates from around the Commonwealth, and I'm proud to stand with them as they share their stories and how this bill and the actions that we take today can change their lives. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any questions from any member of the committee? Delegate Gilbert.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Question for the patron.
Yes.
And forgive me if I get any of this wrong, and I know I'll read about it if I do, but I was struck recently by a lot of things, as everyone was, watching the situation unfold in California. Just the horrific stories out there. But one of the things that caught my attention just in terms of public policy was that a whole slew of insurance companies had either pulled out or dramatically reduced coverage in California, leaving a number of people who were ravaged by these fires uninsured. And apparently it was because, and again, forgive me if I get the details wrong, but as I read it, something like for every dollar that they were collecting in premiums, these insurance companies were paying out $1.09 in compensation for losses. And so they just said, we can't make, like, we're in the business of making money, whether anybody likes that or not. We can't make money doing this, so we're going to stop doing it. So I guess my question is, if human nature is universal to these types of decisions, how is it that this is going to do? We all love cheaper drugs, and it burns me up as much as anybody that somebody can't get access to something that somebody else can. I don't know how to resolve that, but I'm wondering if this concept really does that, or is it going to have the unintended consequence of ensuring there are fewer drugs, fewer lives saved, fewer opportunities for research and development? Like, yeah, we can wave a magic wand and enter the marketplace and dictate what the cost of something is, but they did that in California, and look at the unintended consequences there. So I would just love your thoughts on that.
So, Madam Chair, I'd answer, I think, first comparing the, housing insurance market to the prescription drug market, they're completely different economies. And so I think, while I understand, the point that the delegate is making, I think they're comparing two very different things. The Virginia market is huge. There's 8.7 million residents. And I think that, the threat that pharmaceutical companies might give up on any of those sales because profits might be reduced, not taken away, but reduced, I think is a fear-mongering tactic. I think that there is still opportunity to make profit in Virginia, and the threat that we are going to hold hostage the health and life of Virginians because profits might be reduced by some amount, I think is that's a fight I'm willing to have if that's the direction the conversation goes. I think that we look at other states, we look at other countries. We look at the budgets that these companies have where there is room to cut profit. I think that our opportunity to protect consumers is where we stand on this bill. When we look at the budgets for many of these companies, they're I know the concern you mentioned, the research and development. I'm glad the delegate brought that up. That is often another concern that you're going to hear, is that this bill has the potential to negatively impact research and development. I think that when you look at these companies, their advertising budgets far exceed their budgets for research and development. You look at how much they're paying some of the top executives at these companies. There is a profit that these companies are making that's exorbitant. The fact that we are considering a way to cap the cost of some of the most often hiked drug prices is going to potentially cut some of those profits. But I think there's other areas that we can point to where there is room for that to buffer. And Madam Chair, I think, just again, making the point that, this is giving the opportunity for transparency, and it's giving the opportunity for these companies to make the case to the board. If they come to the board and make the case that they're going to have to pull out of the market if this happens, and they can demonstrate that as fact, if they can demonstrate we raised the price of this drug by $10,000 and this is why, and the board says, okay, that makes sense, then the price stays the same. So it really is, it's not going to be an automatic, you've raised the price by a certain amount, therefore we're going to come in and just immediately cap the price. It gives the opportunity for this conversation to be had transparently about why. Why did that drug cost go up that much in that short period of time? If there's a good answer for it, then it'll continue to cost that much. If there's not a good answer for it, and it seems purely profit-driven, then the board will have the opportunity to intervene and help Virginians who are struggling to make ends meet.
Okay. I don't want to cut short any discussion, but this is a bill that we heard it's been vetted last year. If there's any new information, and I'm not trying to cut the debate short, but it is something that we've already heard, we've already voted on, and we're just going to try it once again just because it's your desire. I will had another comment or question from Delegate Lopez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a comment and a question.
Okay.
Thank you. First off, the question, has anything changed from this bill from last year? We can't see if I don't believe anything has.
And some of the folks that have helped with the bill can let me know if we made any kind of minor edits, but the bill is essentially the same exact concept that we passed out of this body before. I know we've had a lot of conversations to kind of discuss many of the concerns that we've heard, but I think, if short of, very minor edits, it really is exactly the same concept as the bill we introduced last year.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
And I would just make one quick comment. When we're talking about actual U.S. prescription drug prices, an HHS report of all U.S. prescription drug prices as a percentage of prices in selected other countries in 2018, U.S. prices versus Canada were 218% higher. France, 258% higher. Germany, 225% higher. Italy, 244% higher. Japan, 209%. Mexico, 170%. And so it's fairly obvious that other countries are able to actually do this much cheaper for the same prescription drugs. And so I think it's high time we pass this legislation.
Okay. Any other comments? Anyone in the audience would like to speak to the bill? This is, again, 3 minutes because I'm going to respect Subcommittee 1 because they may be here late tonight. What? I should have said it first, shouldn't I, Delegate? Okay, we're going to go 3 minutes, okay? Total of 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I'll be very brief since we've heard this bill before, but just one thing that I did want to
flag because I think it's important for this conversation. This bill limits the board to setting a maximum of 12 upper payment limits per year. So what we're talking about here is not fundamentally altering the business model for pharmaceutical companies or crippling these businesses or anything like that. What we're talking about is looking at a small number of drugs that are currently not affordable for the citizens of Virginia and making them affordable for people who need them to stay alive. That's quite simply what we're trying to do here, and I hope the committee will support the bill. Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman. Rena Hicks with Freedom Virginia. At Freedom Virginia, we believe that every Virginian should have access to the prescription drugs that they need to stay healthy. And for people like myself with type 1 diabetes, the skyrocketing cost of life-saving medication is more than just a financial burden. It's a matter of life and death. Some claim that a prescription drug affordability board will hurt innovation, but the facts tell a different story. Pharmaceutical companies spend far more on advertising and stock buybacks than on research and development. Meanwhile, Virginians are struggling to afford the medications that they need today. We cannot let this continue. A prescription drug affordability board will bring accountability to a broken system and ensure that no Virginian has to go without care they need. This is a common sense solution, and Virginians cannot afford to wait. And to close out with Delegate Lopez's remarks too at the end, not only do we pay more than other countries, but we are also funding that research. And when I mean we, not just the United States as a government, but our taxpayer dollars are funding a lot of this research for drugs that are then put on the market at exorbitant prices. So thank you so much. Hope you support the bill.
Thank you.
Chris West, Jackson West Consulting. We represent the National Association.
Okay, 1.25 minutes, okay.
Yes, ma'am. We represent the National Association of Benefit and Insurance Professionals, about 200 members here in Virginia, over 10,000 businesses, and well over 1 million individual group, employer-provided, and individual health plans. We support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Jeremy Bennett, representing the Virginia Association of Counties. We support the bill.
Tom Matorcia with the Virginia Catholic Conference. We support the bill.
Thank you. 15 seconds.
There are many reasons to oppose this bill, and we need to lower the drug cost to patients. This bill cannot do it. None of the PDABs in use right now have done it. You need to wait this and see how they work, because what a patient pays is not determined by the drug company, it's determined by the insurer. And doing anything to the list price does nothing to what the patient says. I have to, as a qualifier, I'm Dr. Harry Gawanter. I have an MSV coat on because that's the only white coat I have, and that's what we're here today. But I'm not speaking for MSV, I'm speaking for the Virginia Society of Rheumatology, for the Coalition of State Rheumatology Organizations, and the Virginia Oncology Society.
I thank you. I hate to cut you short, but we got the timer going, and I want to be fair because we've got a lot of people online, too, who would like to speak. Okay? You want to just say if you're for or against? I can allow that. Against? Anyone else? Against? Anyone else? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Chris White with Pharma. We're also opposed to the bill. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Okay, we have, is it 4 people? Oh. We have 4 people that we need to hear from, and we're going to set the time limit 3 minutes. So I'm going to ask, okay? Okay, we're going to start with Mr. Rainier Simmons. Are you there?
Unmute. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes.
Yes. Good afternoon. I'm speaking today with concerns over the contents of House Bill 1724 and its presentation of the overpayment limit as a tool for cost containment. This bill does not consider many hidden costs. The Oregon Prescription Drug Advisory Board, through analysis conducted by independent consultant firm Myers and Stauffer, found that a UPL would likely result in a reduction of rebate values across the board. This would harm the Medicaid program by reducing federal matching dollars. This reduction in rebates would also adversely affect safety net provider sustainability and the AIDS Drug Assistance Program by reducing 340B program funding. These harms will require additional appropriation to make up for the losses and to sustain services. The bill also focuses heavily on wholesale acquisition costs and selecting drugs for affordability review, which is an inappropriate metric. The recent complaint filed by the Federal Trade Commission against the largest pharmacy benefit managers delineates their profiteering manipulation of wholesale acquisition costs, which adversely affects patients' access and affordability of medications based on the potential for PBM profit, not the price list of medications. Finally, the imposition of UPL threatens patients' access to care by compromising independent pharmacy sustainability and resulting in adverse formulary design impacts. If the Virginia Assembly desired to improve patient access to care through more affordable medications and reduce the state's cost burden, they will not pursue this legislation. As an alternative, they would be better served by focusing on PBM reform and accountability. Thank you for your time today.
So much. We're going to move on now to Kelsey Haddo. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, but I apologize. My mic wasn't on. We're going to move now. We have a minute and a half, and we're calling on Ms. Kelsey Haddo. We'll ask her to speak now. Got about a minute and a half and 2 more people who would like to speak. Thank you.
I will be fast. My name is Kelsey Haddo. I live in Clifton, Virginia, and I'm also Director of Patient Engagement for Rare Access Action Project. And RAP urges lawmakers to reject this flawed PDAB experiment. It's not working in other states that it is implemented in, and they need to prioritize reforms and genuinely lower patient out-of-pocket costs without compromising access to critical treatments. We can encourage out-of-pocket copay alternatives, PBM transparency reforms. Patients with rare and chronic conditions, affordability is only part of the equation. They need assurances that the therapies they depend on will remain available and the future innovations will continue to address unmet medical needs. We oppose this bill and we hope you will too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're moving on to Mr. Brian Warren. Mr. Warren, you have 40 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Brian Warren with the Biotechnology Innovation Organization. We are opposed to this bill for reasons that many of others have already stated. I do want to end there, though, and give time to the last remaining speaker.
Okay, thank you so much. That would be Amanda Bond, or Boond. Boond. Is it? Okay. Oh, it's Miss Bell. Miss Boone, are you there?
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Hi, sorry about that. I'm just leaving a doctor's appointment. I had to get in my car. Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. I know I don't have long. My name is Amanda Boone. I'm a cystic fibrosis patient, and I'm also a patient advocate, and I'm the founder of CF United. We actually went through the reviews in Colorado. We were the first patients who went through the reviews in the whole country. It was a horrible, awful, terrifying experience for my patient population, myself, my family, and it's something that is not going to actually help the patients. It is actually something that's going to help insurance companies be able to deny us more access to care. Goes back to the insurance companies, and they have stated that they're not going to be able to pass those benefits off to the patients. As a rare disease patient, it is hard to get drugs approved for us.
Thank you, Ms. Boone. Thank you so much. Thank you. We appreciate your comments. Thank you. Okay. Any questions from members of the committee? Yes.
Thank you,
Dr.
Madam Chair.
Munden-King.
Just a very brief comment because I'm hoping that we've voted on this bill before, and I'm hoping that we will look favorably upon it moving forward. But I just want to take a moment to speak from the perspective of those rare disease patients who I greatly appreciate showing up here to share their opinions. I am in a family impacted by rare disease, sickle cell disease, to be specific. And I think that as a Commonwealth, we can do better than some of those other states. We can do the work that this board is structured to provide to lower the cost, because it is really impacting people who have rare diseases that are often ignored, and the cost of medicine continues to increase. As someone who was recently given a $13,000 prescription for an eczema medication, I can deeply identify with the need to do something about prescription drug affordability. So I want to thank the patient for putting in all of the work and ensuring that we can do a better job than those other states in the country, but also ensuring that there are some appeal process and review process. And I think that this is a good bill that's been thoughtfully put together, and I hope we'll look favorably upon it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions? I just want to mention that should this bill pass, it is to be sent to appropriations. Is there a motion on this bill?
Move to report and send to appropriations.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded that we report this bill and refer it to appropriations.
Sorry.
You can cast your votes on your voting machines. The clerk can close the roll. The measure passes 12-9. The bill will report and be referred to appropriations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, committee.
That is all the business that we have before the full committee. But for those in Subcommittee 1, I hope I don't have to call your names again. Stay very nearby, and we will start Subcommittee 1 immediately. Meeting is adjourned.